Well, happy Wednesday, November 10th, 2015. Michael Yoma here, just wanting to express an idea of unfoldment at this moment. Now, there's a lot of talk about what we want to make into the dream manifestation station and what we want to visualize into a materialization of reality into this world of the collective hallucination. We all agreed that this is the hallucination that we call reality. So, in this agreement, I feel as though there is one core element that has been overlooked many times in the development of business and in the development of life, in the development of expression, and in the development of experience that we all have as human beings. Now, I'm rounding up the end of a phenomenal book that I've mentioned before, and it's called We by Robert A. Johnson, and is in the process of understanding the psychology of romantic love. Now, the driving force behind everything that we do tends to seem to have a very commonality to it, and this commonality is love. We do what we do because we love to do it. We are with the people that we are with because we love those people. We experience what we experience because of love. Now, it could go into the lack of love or the gain of love, the to impress love or to reject love. And all our actions and key components of our existence is based off of this one fundamental emotion. And everything else becomes an expression of it, either in the negative or in the positive. So, what I like to touch base on with today is the concept of what romantic love is and what human love is. It's based out of this book, We, and I want to kind of fractalize out of the basis of the concept. Now, it uses the Greek mythology story, the characters of Tristan and Isolde, and the epic love story that they shared with drinking the love potion, which in a way is considered romantic love in this day and age. And human love is the secondary type of love that we have. So there's two types of loves that we as humans seek after. We seek after divine love, the love of the spirit, the love of the goddess or the god that we see within the other person. And the second love is loving the person just as that, as a human being, no entity and divinity within them. The concepts of trying to find the goddess within the woman that we seek after, trying to find the god and the king in the man that we seek after, depending on what our gender is and what our preference is, tends to be our own selfish quest for our own self awareness of what we possess already in us. We're just trying to find a reflection and trying to find someone that emulates that ideal and that idea of what we want to become on a spiritual level, to find heaven on earth, to find heaven in a human body, in a human form, and to be able to encapsulate that and be able to say that this is my containment, and in this containment I possess my spiritual awakening through my partner. And that's the concept of romantic love. We love the idea that the person gives us. We love the feeling that the person gives us. We love the excitement. We love the dreams. We love the fantasies. We love falling in love. And falling in love is completely opposite of what love is, being in love. And being in love is a basis of commitment, of understanding, of non-judgment, of trust, of surrenderance to the idea that we are just human beings on this earth plane that are all just striving to be able to understand and make sense of this unfoldment of this agreed upon hallucination. Now, if we do everything out of love and for love, we start finding out that majority of our life is dictated by how much love we want and what the love that we have demands of us, and what we allow the love that we have to demand from us. Now, we can float along in life and um, wish for the best, or we can actually take action onto something, and that is our own divinity. We, as a species of human beings, have this amazing capacity to fill up and empty out anything that we so choose to in our life and in our journey. Now, sometimes the load gets a little bit too heavy, and sometimes the load gets a little bit too light. And it's finding this balance so that we can keep a straight path is straight on of a path on a crooked open ocean as we possibly can. And to be able to understand that we do not need to find the divinity of the Godhead within us or the goddess within us, that it's going to unfold itself every single step and every single breath that we have. That time is to come after this experience of this hallucination. We chose to be here at this moment. We chose to experience this at this moment. And so the more that we try to get away from this experience, the more the experience is going to magnify to be able to allow us to realize that we are here right now. And this idea of romantic love that passes by like a thief in the night will steal all the ideas and steal all the energy and the focus on one thing. It will steal its all your energy and or all the being's energy that is being influenced by this love potion for only just that love. And the romantic love is not human love, and romantic love is not the thing that we should be going after. Passion is a definition of romance. And passion within itself used to define itself as suffering. So through passion, we got to have suffering to feel the passion and to feel the conflict and then feel the resolution. Um, and that is an illusion that we can choose to be able to participate in. That is a dream that we can get lost in for many years, most of our life, if not all of our life, if we allow it to. And to be able to allow a person to unfold the way that they should unfold and to support them in their unfoldment through their stumblings and through their um, half fulfilled attempts of life, and wherever they end up is where they end up, and we can choose to befriend them and be friends with them. That's the one thing that I feel that a lot of r- romantic relationships or involved relationships, especially in the West nowadays, fails to realize is that we're here initially as friends, companions to one another, and we're here to support each other during very turbulent times and very peaceful times, times of war and times of peace. We are being called every single minute of every single day in the relationships that we're in to be able to rise up and to facilitate companionship, compassion, to facilitate understanding and forgiveness. For what people do to us isn't really what they're doing to us, it's what they're doing to their own unfoldment of their experience. The ones that do the worst to us are the ones that are getting ready to go through a major transformation and a major shift in their perception. And tends to be that there's a lot of bad things that people could say bad things happen, but really they're transformative things. They're things that allow that person to become more self-realized. And with this concept of romantic love, it always makes it feel better when we're going through the self-realization process with someone else to be able to gauge us and tell us that we're doing all right, that we're on the right path, that what we think and what we feel, hey, that's okay. You know, I've been there, I've done that. Relation. And we've confused the concept of relation and wanted to put a mask on it and get a crew and have a mission and call it a relationship. Now, the ship is a selling already, and it's already on the seas. We are in the relationship with ourselves. Our body is the mate, and our soul is the partner. So that we already have our soulmate. A few years ago, I decided to name my soul Iome, E-O-M-E. And the reasons behind this name of my soul, naming of my soul, was to be able to allow myself to realize that the relations that I have on the outside are not to materialize themselves to be able to project my self-awareness upon my soul and upon my mind. The concept of naming my soul was to be able to find a marriage with my soul and my body and my mind. My own personal spiritual journey to always find the unfoldment of truth in myself, my core essential values, and where I find my integrity of existence it falls into that marriage that I had. I was thinking I was on a ready step and a new level to be able to marriage into a human relationship. And, you know, time does reveal itself. And at this present moment in time, that's not where I'm supposed to be, evidently. I'm no longer married. I witnessed a very unique unfoldment within the union between my ex-wife and I, and it allowed for one very specific thing to come up to surface: is never lose yourself and never give yourself away to what you think is the goddess within the other person or the god within the other person, because that is you. The things that you want to do them. The things that you dream to become them. Do not allow a person to be the excuse as your scapegoat on why you have not achieved the things that you have not achieved. And that also means that doesn't mean that you have to leave the relationship in order for you to do it. That's the beautiful thing about it, is that a lot of people start realizing, wow, I'm getting further and further away from my spiritual self. I'm getting further and further away from what my dreams were. I was getting further and further away from where I thought I was going to be at this certain point of my life, and what I have done all these steps to get to now just crumbled underneath me, and I have no ground to stand on. Now, those are all lies and all illusions into the hallucination of a self-created hallucination that only one person will agree upon. That will be you. Now, the external hallucination is going to witness you and try to give you advice and say, hey, you know, it's okay. Like, you're a good person. You got a lot of aspirations. You got a lot of drive. You got a lot of love. You got a lot of good things. So it's okay for you to depart from this relationship, which sounds, because of all the wording and the way that you speak of this relationship, is falling apart and holding you back. Well, that's not the truth. The only thing that's holding us back is ourselves. We don't have to depart on the physical level to be able to ascend into our spiritual level by any means. Um, I feel as though a lot of people have a fear of failure within their spiritual development, and there is no failure in it. There is no achievement in it either. That's the beautiful thing, is that we really don't fail or succeed within self-awareness and self-realization. It becomes itself eternally unfolding upon itself in that own way. So through the concepts of romantic love, you know, trying to find the goddess within ourselves and trying to find the God within ourselves, both masculine and feminine, is going to be the continual quest. Most men tend to try to find women as their ideal sense of being, of who they are on the inside, but we in the Western really can't talk about our feminine feelings much these days, now can't we? But there are a lot of people that are pulling through, a lot of masculine, a lot of feminine. They're pulling through to realize that there is this compassionate moment that we have to be able to become self-expressive and to be able to realize that it's not fair for the other person to have to play the role of the goddess, and it's not fair for the other person to have to play the role of the god, because once we put them onto that pedestal is the moment that they start failing us and we start failing them. We start failing their own relationship. It's the concept of, are we really in the relationship to be able to be self-glorified and self-satisfied? Or are we in the relationship to glorify the other self and to satisfy the other self? And the human self, the being that we're watching and that we're witnessing develop in front of us. What a beautiful thing that is personal growth and development on a very vulnerable state. And to be able to say, hey, this is who I am at this moment, and this is where I'm going at this moment. That does not mean that this is where I'm going to stop. That does not mean that this is who I am when I stop. Uh, Love is a very beautiful thing. To give love completely and unconditionally to complete strangers, to give love unconditionally and completely to the ones that have done us the worst, and our opinions of the most harm, and have created the most suffering. One of the greatest things that we can do for ourselves in our development of our spirituality is to give love. You know, it's an easy thing to do, to be able to say to a person. That's best example is my own experience. I explained to my ex-wife that she can marry whoever she wants to marry. This is when we were talking about if the relationship was going to preserve or if it was going to end. And I told her that she's free. She's free to do whatever she wants to do. She's free to see whoever she wants to see. She's free to go wherever she wants to go. And I gave her this sense of freedom because that is what love is. Does not try to make one person their own. Love does not try to make a person define itself upon itself. Uh, it's a hard step, you know, and it's talking about this in this book. The hardest step for Tristan to do was to give Isolette back to the king, her husband, the righteous one that legally and socially deserves to have her by his side. And a sense of suffering came about with this. And Izuet didn't want Tristan to be with anybody else, and Tristan didn't want Izuet to be with anybody else but the king, because he had to give up the king, the wife back to the king, and kind of uniqueness in itself. When you truly love somebody, you set them free. And when you truly love somebody and as a human being, you're able to realize that there's going to be a Christ consciousness that is going to awaken within the experience itself. And in order for me in this development to be able to finalize my personal experience on inspiration on this particular video at this time, is it brings great joy to realize that as I walk through this life, I have loved and I've been loved. I have created dreams and broken dreams. I have allowed and not allowed. But the one thing I do know is this: that all my words as they seem to be lies, and all my words that seem to be truth, all are just one thing. It's love. And as confusing as that may be to the people in my life and to the people in our lives as we start becoming a little bit more self-aware of this, is that authenticity is always going to be questioned. And integrity will always be questioned by the external sources that we come across. And it is for us to be able to hold in truth within ourselves of what we are here to do and why we are here to do it. Namaste. Peace, love, and happiness to you all.